I was basically a risky proposition for an investor. One, being a first timer, two, being a first timer at a budget level, which was on the high end of low budget. So we went and spent 2.5 years trying to raise the money with a different combination of actors and a different combination of tax credits and a different combination of potential investors. And I was watching a featurette on a movie with a pair of directors who did this movie called Starry Eyes, who ended up doing the recent Pet Sematary. And they had said that they pivoted. They went down a road, hit a roadblock, and decided to pivot to a smaller film. And this seemed like a good idea, even though I knew that doing that would mean I would make a lot less money. The creature comforts within the production were going to be, there weren't going to be any. But I knew that doing a film was the battle. You have to pay your dues. And I think I ended up paying my dues in music videos and commercials and every sort of art form I've worked in. And that didn't exclude me from paying my dues in features. So I rolled up my sleeves and said, let's do it this way, because I believe just doing it, I believe if you're not moving forward, you're not moving.
Yeah.
And so we did, and literally every piece fell into place. Within 6 months, we were shooting on set, and we had raised some money before. So there was a little bit of money from the last production, which we had gotten cleared with the investors to put into this production. And then we were raising money on the fly as we were going as well. I really recommend having all the money for your movie before you start. But if you have to, it is a way to get it done.
The thing that I like that you just said is that if you're not moving forward, you're not moving, and to just do it in this pivoting. And I think one of the things that happens is that creative people get really sort of fixated on an idea. And I think one of the things about the creative process that actually makes it come alive is the way that you have to pivot. And sometimes that pivot is in what your project is. Sometimes that pivot is, how am I going to be able to make this project? And then sometimes that pivot is you're on set and all of a sudden you realize that you don't have enough money or you can't clear this certain thing or whatever it is. And so you're pivoting again and again. And so therefore the goal that you're going towards, in some ways, the sort of the uber goal or the the arch goal, as it were, is the one that is so hard to maintain as the vision when we start to think that, I have to do it in this certain manner.
I mean, I didn't have a choice. You know what I mean? I knew the only way to be successful when you're building your dream on the backs of other people's favors and goodwill, be fluid. You really need to take advantage of what you have. You need to be grateful for what you have at the moment and take advantage of it to the best of your ability. If you have a scene that's set at a mansion, but you have a shack, then it's in your best interest to figure out a way to do a rewrite if you can.
Yeah, right.
That's a hard thing to wrap your head around. But my background, one of the first things I did in the industry was I worked for an agent, and I would help his clients make trailers for essentially things that they were trying to finance. So I would always start with, okay, what can we shoot? What do we own? And I boiled things down to like the things that we had at our disposal, and it forced me into a way of thinking where I was, what is this concept? What does it promise? What is the poster for this concept? How can we start to paint with a very broad brush and create these kind of tentpole images that ultimately will sell the project? But if we weren't getting bogged down with perfection, we weren't getting bogged down with too many details. It was about finding materials that we could use to create the essence of something. And being able to not be so precious, I think, is a really valuable lesson for any creative.
You know what? If you could just underline that 6 or 7 times, that would be great. Not to be so precious. Because when you get too precious, the idea ultimately becomes greater than the project itself. And I think that in and of itself kills kills creativity because you're never going to do it perfectly. That's just impossible.
It's almost impossible to see in the moment, but it's like really easy to see in hindsight. Every project is going to be a representation of where you were at that moment in your life. But when you're hoping that project is going to change your life, it becomes extremely valuable. It's hard not to become precious about it because I need this to launch me into the next stage of my creative development.
Yeah. I almost wish that every person that had a story to tell, which is basically everybody, but that it had a story to tell and they wanted to tell it, they were basically given, a certain amount of money and said, you have 15 days to do this. And every day that goes, we're taking a little piece of your like future dreams away from you. So go.